Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and we're back out here in the garage for another first impressions and gun fad video, kind of a 2-for-1. I know some of you guys like it when I combine topics and combined videos into one, so we just get to talk about everything and just chat about guns in some capacity. And for the first impressions part of the video, we have a rifle and a suppressor to talk about, and in the gun fads portion, we're going to talk about single stack 9mm pistols for concealed carry. But let's get into the first impressions first. I mentioned in one of my previous videos that I had filmed most of the range content for this Noveske rifle and this suppressor, but I didn't really want to kind of spoil it for you or talk about it before I was able to get to the longer distance range and get the complete picture and have some time to think about it. And today, I was able to go to the 100-yard range with this setup. So now everything is filmed and complete. And so now I can feel confident in coming to you with what my initial thoughts and impressions are. Now, as I always have to remind people, I know you might be clicking on this video and discovering the Texas Gun Vault for the first time, actually Texas Gun Vault 2 for the first time. This is my behind the scenes channel. This is not a product review, range report, gun review, any of that. It's a behind the scenes channel where I talk to my biggest fans. We put that in air quotes because I don't really have fans. I have people that tolerate me. And we discuss what I discover at the range before I create the actual review video. And if you want to see all of my review videos, which are filmed on much better equipment than just my camera on my phone, go check out the Texas Gun Vault. There's a link in the description below, and hope to see you over there. But if you're just here to talk about guns and we can talk about what I experienced with this firearm, let's talk about it. Okay, so we have the Noveske Afghan DDF. Now, when I took this rifle to the range, I knew it was the Afghan, and I thought this was going to be a range report revisit. Now, sometimes I will revisit a firearm. If I get a chance to review a different example of a gun, I will go back and look at my previous review of it, see if there's anything, maybe different about it that's designed differently or what my rating was, and see how long ago I made it. Because I like to think I'm a better reviewer now, and the things I take into consideration are different. So if I revisit a pistol, maybe the things I didn't like about it, I've changed my mind on. Maybe they're worse. I don't know. I just like to see how I have evolved. So occasionally I'll do a range report revisit if the opportunity presents itself. And I kind of thought that's what this was going to be, the Noveske Afghan, which I have reviewed in the same barrel length, 14.5 inches. But this is the DDF version, and I wasn't really sure what DDF meant. So I went online, and according to Noveske, DDF stands for Disruptive Deep Flute. So this barrel is the main difference between the other Noveske Afghan and this one. And they go into, I don't want to say pseudoscience, but they talk about how it disrupts different resonances and frequencies in the barrel and makes it lighter, more durable, and more accurate. Now, is there something to that? Maybe, maybe not. They use a lot of big words that I don't think many people are going to take the time to go look up and understand. But fluting has been around for a while. And let me tell you, when they say deep fluting, that is what this barrel has. Now, I know there is no way for me to show this on my phone. And I'll probably have to figure out a way of taking pictures of it or roll in pictures from Noveske's website. But there is the fluting. You can see it right there where the muzzle device and the barrel meet. And that fluting is super deep. I can't believe the bottom of that fluting even has enough material where the barrel doesn't blow up when you are firing this rifle. So I did notice that there is a significant weight difference between this and the old Afghan, because that one I think is designed more for like heavy duty military use. And the Afghan is kind of a rifle that is supposed to bridge the gap between a practical defensive rifle and a designated marksman's rifle. So you're supposed to get exceptional accuracy from it. And the barrel is the big difference between the two. And I guess some people rant and rave about this new barrel profile and design. So the things I liked about the Afghan, which by the way, I went back and looked at that review. I gave it 4.75 stars out of 5. Almost a perfect review. And this gun shoots almost exactly the same, but it's better because it is lighter. And I think my biggest complaint in that original review was it's heavy. It is a heavy rifle for a SBR 14.5 inches. This gun is definitely better balanced. It is lighter, and I get virtually the same performance from it. I would say that they claim on the website this fluting helps with heat dissipation. I can't really attest to that because it does get a little bit hot, but not uncomfortable hot, so maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. And the DDF barrels have an outer diameter that I believe is a little bit thicker than the standard profile. But with all of those deep cuts, you have weight savings. Because of the diameter being a little bit bigger, I find that this handguard might be a little bit too thin. And that might be why we're getting some heat transfer. But also my friend D, who lent this to the channel, he had initially installed, in fact, I think I have it, where did I put it? I put it somewhere. He always tells me that I can take stuff off rifles if I don't like it. He had a hand stop. Where did I put it? I set it aside. Hey, look, let me see if it's on my table over here. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay. So it was this hand stop right here. It's a Noveske hand stop. It's M-LOK. Now he had installed it on the bottom of this rifle. And because that barrel profile is so thick, see, where was it? Right here. You can actually see where those screws for the M-LOK went all the way through and were rubbing on the barrel. See that right there? I actually think this is a design flaw. Now, the barrel is awesome, the handguard is awesome, but if you are going to have a wider diameter barrel, you need to have a slightly wider diameter handguard. So if you want to put M-LOK accessories on the bottom, these screws, which are already like super duper short, should not rub on the barrel, because as you tighten this down, that could cause accuracy issues and stop the whole point of the barrel being free floated. So the installation of this, I think, took away from the free floating barrel and possibly accuracy. Now, I did not review this gun with this on it, but I noticed that. So in my opinion, this was a slight oversight by Noveske. If you have that wider diameter, as I said, you need to have a little bit wider handguard. I mean, don't change anything about it when it comes to its looks, its interface. You're just going to have to make it a tad wider for that. So I'm curious if you have any experience with the DDF Noveskes, which they have a whole line of them. What do you think about how close the handguard is in the M-LOK slots with the barrel because of the wider diameter? To me, this is a slight design flaw, because if you like to run a handguard or some accessory here on the bottom, and I'd have to really take off the bipod and see if that is rubbing the barrel too. In fact, I think I can kind of see in there without having to take it off. Let me see what I got. Oh yeah, yes it is. It's rubbing on the barrel. The M-LOK slot for the rail attachment, it is tight against the barrel. So that ruins the whole point of it being free float. When you have the accessories on it, it's not free floated anymore because it's connected, or at least being pushed on, by the handguard. That is not good. So I did find a flaw in this, okay? Now I'm telling you, when it comes to the Texas gun vault, I'm just an average gun guy. I will find a mistake or a design flaw in every gun, and people hate me for it. They think, oh, you're just a negative Nancy. I promise I'm not. But I look for things that other people do not. So I'll have to take a picture of that for the full range report. But how did it shoot? Well, I like this one better than the original Afghan. I mean, as I said, this one is probably going to get 4.75 stars out of 5 because of the issue with the M-LOK slots. Still, or I guess on this one being here. But it shot great. Very accurate. Very fast gun with the... It does have a Geisley trigger in it. Yes, it does. It has a Geisley trigger in it. Well balanced. Way better than the original Afghan. And this one, I believe... it's really hard to say. This one is probably designed more for practical shooting and average gun guys like us because of its weight distribution and balance versus the heavy dutiness of the normal Afghan barrel because that is designed for military use and going to hell and back. Okay, so overall, Noveske Afghan DDF disruptive deep flute. Disruptive deep flute. It's kind of a tongue twister. Great rifle. Handguard needs to be reworked so you have more room on, especially the bottom slots. The side, yeah, it'd be close on the side too. Yeah, I mean, because where those flutes are. Need a wider handguard, Noveske. Need a wider handguard. And because I discovered this, I should charge you a consultation fee because I probably just fixed your rifle and found something nobody else has. I'm just joking, by the way. I'm not that important. All right, so let's talk about the suppressor. The suppressor that I ran on this, I will be very honest with you. I thought it was for a different caliber because of the name. This is the CGS Suppressors LLC Sci-Six. So with a name like Sci-Six, what do you think this suppressor is primarily designed for? 6mm arc, right? You think, oh, it's a 6mm suppressor. The Sci-Six. It's not. It's a 5.56 suppressor. Now, you can run 5.56 through a 6mm arc suppressor, and it's perfectly fine. They work great. I was just really surprised to find out this is a 5.56 only suppressor. And I did run it on a 5.56 rifle, so there was no problem. It's not like I ran on a 6mm arc or anything. But the name is confusing. I think the 6 refers to the length. It's supposed to be under 6 inches. This is one of those kind of combat suppressors. Excuse me. And you guys know my tests. In my suppressor tests, I have 4 things I run every suppressor to. Number 1, a tone test, which is, of course, subjective. My camera is not going to pick up, the condenser microphone is not going to truly pick up on the sound of the suppressor, so you kind of have to go with what I say. And hopefully sometimes it does sound a little bit different. You can kind of compare the rifle being unsuppressed and suppressed. The tone of this suppressor is fantastic. Wow, this thing sounds really good. Super deep sound. It's more of a kind of a thud. You hear it and it's soft. And I really feel like you get a lot of suppression out of this. Great tone with this suppressor. Then when it comes to its resistance, a lot of resistance. But I do not believe this is a flow-through baffle design. I don't see any extra vents around it. So it's more of a traditional or traditionally baffled suppressor. So that's probably why we get the better tone. You know, one of those gun fads I need to talk about is flow-through baffle designs because I think they're really cool and innovative, but I don't think they're going to last because I do think you lose suppression with the flow-through baffle designs. So tone and suppression of this suppressor is awesome, especially for its size. Lot of resistance. But once again, that can be a good thing or a bad thing. If you need extra gas to run a dedicated suppressor host that might be undergassed, it's good. But even when I took this to the rifle range and inside we have these like big air conditioner, vents that are just pushing air down range as hard as it possibly can, obviously because of, lead and, all the stuff that gets into the air when you're firing guns. It's just pushing it down range in the ventilation system. Even with all of the air coming from behind me, this thing was still super gassy and I was smelling it. Really super gassy. Once again, not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something to be aware of. I do feel like they could do something with it to make it a little bit less gassy, but then you probably lose some of that suppression. When it comes to the point of impact and ballistics changes, it's minimal. The point of impact shift is, I would say, moderate, but there's almost no change in the ballistics. And its heat resiliency, it does not get as hot as other suppressors, and it does not cool off as fast, which is what I would expect from an Inconel suppressor with traditional baffles. It doesn't have as much surface area inside, so it doesn't dissipate the heat as much. I can't remember. I'll have to go back and look. I don't think it passes my test. I think it got up to about 650, 670 degrees, which is about average for a 5.56 suppressor, not like some of those other designs that go up to 750 and above. But after 5 minutes, it was down to like 320, 340, which is not 50% of the heat dissipated. It stays pretty warm. So I really have to go back and look at all the data. So the thing that is the big seller on this one is its tone and its suppression. This thing, if you're looking for quiet, you're going to get it with this guy. Fantastic. But it's gassy. Ballistics, pretty good. Heat, it gets hot, but stays hot. Okay, it's not like blistering hot. Actually, you can see where I kind of burned the finish of it. So it doesn't get like blazing hot like other designs, but as I said, it retains the heat. So there you go. That's the CGS Suppressors Sci-Six, and don't be fooled by the name. It's only a 5.56 suppressor. All right, so there are the first impressions. So now I have to do all the editing of the range footage and create a bullet point script for each and do the garage portion of those reviews. So that's kind of what I'll be doing the early part of this week. So now let's get to the gun fads, which, by the way, yesterday's video, which was the top 5 guns I regret not buying, lo and behold, it is the #1 video of my last 10 videos. So maybe there's something to that AI telling me what people that, like to watch that follow my channel. So I'll have to do that a little bit more often from time to time. And maybe I should do a series of top 5s as well. But today we're talking gun fads. Okay, so for today's gun fad, you already probably see in the title of this video, is going to be single stack 9mm pistols for concealed carry. Now, I don't own any gun that would meet that criteria, but I have one that was designed from one of those. This is my Smith & Wesson M&P Shield Plus. Now, I know some people won't even remember this, and I'm hoping if you do remember this very short period of time, you will tell me in the comment and go, I remember this fad. So when I was first getting into guns and concealed carry here in Texas and all that kind of stuff, I would say one of the most popular guns, and I own one and I've carried it for a long time and still carry it to this day, even though I say it's obsolete and people say, it's not obsolete, you can still use it. I get it's obsolete as compared to what other guns offer in their sizes and options. Anyway, the Glock 26, okay? Glock 26. Great little baby Glock, holds 10 rounds of 9mm. We're using the flush fit magazine, but it's a double stack magazine, and it is a little bit on the chonk side, okay? It's chonky, it's thick for what it is, but it's so easy to conceal. It's just thicker than other guns, right? So there was a time, and once again, the influencers of YouTube and the gun tubiverse, one person will say something that has a huge following, and then everybody else who is their disciples, yes, I completely agree. And I don't remember who it was, but there was this little short period of time, I'm going to say it was probably about 2014-ish area, 2015 area. Somebody started saying, I wish Glock would make a single stack 9mm, because at the time, they did not make a single stack 9mm gun. And the idea was, for concealed carry, they wanted the gun to be as narrow as possible, as thin as possible. They thought that was the dimension that people were having a hard time concealing. When in reality, the hardest dimension of a handgun to conceal is this dimension, the length of the grip, not really the length of the barrel or its width. Now, of course, you can go into extremes. So I believe, and I don't know who really started it, because Glock, of course, is so slow to react, will not listen to their consumers. Other companies listened, and lo and behold, you had the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield, the first version of it. They offered it in 9, and they offered it in 40. And maybe there's some other guns that had it as well. I'm sure there's been guns all along the line that were like single stack 9mm. But that was the first company that I remember tried to create what Glock wouldn't create. A polymer striker-fired handgun, single stack, and it had like 6 or 7 rounds. Not much. And then all of a sudden, like every company followed suit. Taurus, you name it. Any company that made striker-fired handguns, polymer frame, everybody followed suit. And I thought it was a fad when I was like, why do I want a gun like that? And I remember talking to people online, leaving comments on videos, and people told me how stupid I was because you don't need 10 rounds. Of course, this was gun people back then. For concealed carry, you want it to be as thin as possible. And I was like, yeah, but you lose like 4 rounds of capacity. I mean, it's a 9mm. We're not talking 357 SIG here or something of that nature. You got 9, okay? It's 9mm. It's a pretty effective round, but not the most effective. And for me, I want the most capacity. in the smallest package, you know, size to capacity ratio. And everybody wanted single stack. Why won't Glock make a single stack? They won't give us the gun we want. Well, other companies started coming out with it. And I thought it was a complete fad at the time. I had friends that bought the Shield, the original version. I knew people that were all about it. Man, you had a 5 or 6 round 9mm handgun, and everybody was all proud of themselves. And then, lo and behold, SIG came out with the P365. Essentially, they realized, hey, if we change the magazine geometry, we could stuff 10 rounds into a really thin gun, maybe just a little thicker than those single stack 9s. And that was the gun that revolutionized the concealed carry market. Now, Glock revolutionized it in the 90s with the Glock 26. SIG revolutionized it with the P365, and people do not appreciate that. They forget how impactful that gun was. I remember how impactful that gun was and how that magazine design changed everything. Now, of course, Smith & Wesson came out with their version of it. Essentially, they just took the upper portion of the Shield and did the same type of magazine geometry. I mean, look how weird that thing looks. So essentially, you have a double stack magazine that has this weird, like, little chimney top to it. Goes to a single feed, of course. And they shoved it into a very, very thin handgun. This is just a little bit thicker than those single stack Shields. But man, there was a time when everybody wanted a single stack 9mm handgun. And that was a fad. And I don't think this one's going to be very controversial. Where all of my other fads, you know, there's always going to be people to this day that still defend the you gotta shoot like you, or train like you're going to shoot, whatever. But I don't think there's many people now that look back and go, man, I'm going to defend my single stack 9mm. They'll probably go, yeah, I'd like to have a little bit more capacity. And now companies give us that same capacity in a gun that's only like that much thicker. So it was a fad for about a year and a half. And I'm curious if any of you guys remember that, because that was like the hotness. Every company was trying to make one. Everybody was buying it. Everybody said single stack 9mm. And finally, after the fad went away, guess what Glock finally started giving people? Yeah, single stack 9mm. What did we have? We had is it the Glock? See, I lost the Glock models in like the 40s. What do we have? The 48? Is that what it is? I know what the 45 is. The 46 is really cool. I'd love to see a 46 with a rotating barrel. I think the 48 was single stack. And was it the 43? I know that's a really tiny one. Was that single stack or was that staggered stack? Maybe. Yeah, anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. Was it the 47? 40? No, 49 is... Anyway, I lost track in the 40s. I knew all the models all the way up to like 44, and then it gets a little blurry. But yes, then all of a sudden, Glock started offering single stack 9mm pistols, and then the fad was over. But do you guys remember the fad of single stack 9mm? Do you happen to own any? This is the closest I have to it. I never got into it because I was not going to waste my money on a single stack 9mm pistol with no capacity. I don't care how small it was, because later they came out with these. I mean, is this 10 rounds? Yeah, I think this is 10. 10, and with a little bit of an extension, you get like 12 or 13 in one of these bad boys, which is like double that single stack 9mm. I knew it was a fad when everybody wanted it, and I know it was popular because of the tactical operators showing people how to conceal carry, the ultimate concealed carry pistol. And if you go on YouTube and look way back in time to 2013, 14, 15 area, look for ultimate concealed carry guns from that era, and you'll see people talking about single stack 9mm. It was a fad, the hotness, for about a year and a half, and then poof, gone, because SIG P365, Smith & Wesson M&P Shield Plus, and what was it, the Taurus? Was it the G3 or G4? Yeah. You guys know the pistols I'm talking about. And then all of a sudden, everybody abandoned the thing that was the revolutionary single stack 9mm. And then everyone just forgets about the fad. So anyway, there you go. I know some of you guys probably still carry. You're going to tell me, well, I live in a state where I can only... And that's fine too. You're allowed to carry anything you want. You're allowed to buy anything you want. You're allowed to like anything you want. I am not saying you're a bad person or make any poor decisions if you disagree with me. But this was a fad for about a year and a half. So there you go. Gun fad, single stack, 9mm pistols for concealed carry. So there you go. So tell me what you think in the comments section below. Was it a fad for you? Did you know it was a fad when it was happening? Or did you fall for it and buy one of those guns? And what do you guys think of the Noveske Afghan DDF? Disruptive Deep Fluted. I'm going to have to remember that for that video. I'm going to stumble on that when I film the garage portion. And the Sci-Six from CGS Suppressors. So there you go. So if you watch to the end and want to play my game of the word of the day, so I know you watched to the end of this 25-minute video. Oh my gosh, I talked for so long. The word of the day is going to be single. Single is the word of the day because single stack pistols were a fad and a thing, and maybe you still own one, but I never bought one. So I guess I saved my money there and then wasted my money on other things. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts. And as always, thanks for joining me here in the garage, and thanks for watching.